Right, welcome back again. There is a possibility Samia Suluhu Hassan will be going to jail anytime soon. Following the launched investigations by the ICC, they were looking for evidence enough for them to really call Samia Suluhu Hassan to the Hague in Netherlands, and following the news that was given out by the African Union concerning President Samia Suluhu Hassan, Samia Suluhu Hassan, if African Union really does well and follows what it requires to follow, Samia Suluhu Hassan should be going to jail anytime soon. There is an activist in Tanzania who came out with a certain document, and this document only requires people to fill in and sign and put all the evidences that you have about the massacre and about everything that has been happening in Tanzania. And therefore, people have been filling this document. And I think by now, this document has been filled with many people enough to be able to sue or to take Samia Suluhu Hassan to Hague. Because if this document is filled, now the ICC will have no otherwise than just to take Samia Suluhu Hassan to Hague. Already, we have observers from the African Union Commission who came out and they revealed that the elections in Tanzania was not free, it was not fair, it was not transparent. And they just broke the news that in Tanzania, there are people who were given access to vote without identifying themselves, and the internet was put off during the time of counting elections and during the time of massacre, of slaughtering people, and many people were killed at the time that that internet was placed off, and also some other counting of votes were done when the internet was placed off. The other votes were being counted more than once and more than twice, and the observers were not given opportunity to really follow up the whole process, like the whole process from the beginning to the end. Other observers were being harassed and they were being stopped from entering the rooms where elections were happening, and that one is according to SADC and. It's a South African body, and right now I think there is an evidence enough for the African Union or for the ICC to really take a very, very good, to take this woman to ICC and try to ask her questions. And I don't think she can be able to save herself because the news is out and the evidences are out. So the commission says it was difficult for them to actually follow up on the election process from the beginning to the end. Take a listen at SADC.
The Southern African Development Community Observer Mission has spoken about the recent elections in Tanzania, and I take my cap off for them. They have been brutally honest. Their verdict is clear. Here is what they said, and I quote, "In most areas, voters could not express their democratic will. Overall, the 2025 general election in the United Republic of Tanzania fell short of the requirements of the SADC principles and guidelines governing democratic elections." End of quote. That is as loud and as clear as can be. This is from SADC, which Tanzania is a part of. Let that sink in. SADC itself has declared that Tanzania's 2025 elections were not free, and they were not fair, and they were not democratic. And as those words were being written, hundreds of Tanzanians were dying for daring to speak out against flawed elections. Indeed, Tanzania's elections were a mere performance, where democracy was the stage and dictatorship was the director. On voting day, the internet went dark and police flooded the streets more than voters themselves. This was not an election. It was an operation. SADC observers were harassed, interrogated, and forced to delete photos. If international observers are treated like criminals, imagine how ordinary voters were treated. SADC saw through it all. They saw the censorship, They saw the ruling party dominating state media, while private stations self-censored in fear. They saw the judiciary handcuffed by the Constitution. No one can challenge presidential results. They saw the people's will crushed beneath a legal system designed to protect power, not justice. This is not good governance. It's not democracy. This is democracy's funeral. And the blood that soaked the Tanzanian soil is its final witness. Hundreds dead, thousands beaten and injured, millions silenced. Let's call it for what it is, an engineered fraud. And this fraud has a name: state capture, state brutalization. A government so afraid of its people that it hides behind soldiers and shuts down the internet. SADC must now act. SADC must act. It must begin by suspending Tanzania from SADC. That is not punishing the people, but punishing a rogue government that is brutalizing the people. The other member states of SADC must then issue formal protests to the African Union, because in remaining silent, the African Union is complicit. In rushing to congratulate Samia Suluhu, the African Union is complicit. To the youth of Africa, good governance is not given. It is taken, defended, and rebuilt. The regime has answered Tanzanians with bullets, but bullets cannot kill a dream whose time has come. This is the African awakening, and we refuse to be silent. We must act for Tanzania. We must act for Sudan. We must act for Congo. We must act for Africa. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Yes, now.
And this is also a submission from the African Union Commission when they said they were not able to follow up on the elections and what really happened during the day of elections in Tanzania. Take a look.
I have to say that I was an observer an African Union observer for the elections. And much as we celebrate women in leadership, as an observer and given our report, we did say that the elections were far from free, fair, and credible. And with the shutdown of the internet in Tanzania and all the videos that we're seeing, it is the same women and children that we're championing today that are being affected. So what I would like to say is I pray for Tanzania and every conflict-ridden country at the moment. We heard from Kativa Belani about fleeing conflicts. We want peace in Africa, and we want good leadership and governance and democracy, and the space in that in democracy to be highlighted. We can't just celebrate a woman for being in leadership. We have to celebrate good leadership. Let me call to the front Thivo Mukveho, who will be speaking on behalf of Honorable Sindisiwe Chikunga, the Minister in the Presidency of the Women, Youth and People with Disabilities in South Africa. And then Madam Geraldine Fraser Molekati, please, if I can have you on the front here. While they're making their way here, in the interest of saving time, let me say it is an honor to welcome you to this important session as we continue our collective journey towards gender equality, justice, and inclusive leadership across the continent. Today we gather to reflect on political participation, women's leadership, legal reform, and access to justice, pillars that shape not only Beijing Plus 30 agenda, but are the very future of Africa. This is not just a program, it is a call to action. Each voice we will hear today contributes to strengthening our shared commitment to building systems that protect the rights and elevate the leadership of women and girls. We have a rich lineup of experts and leaders. I will guide us through the flow and keep to the time so that every perspective is heard. So let us begin. You have the floor, Thivo Mukveho.
Thank you, Madam Program Director.
Right, welcome back again. And now, this is also the reactions from people all over the world about the African, following the news that the African Union just broke out about the elections that were done in Tanzania, which was very much not free, very much unfair, and not very much transparent. Take a look.
ICC, finally, thank you. We submitted information about Samia and Museveni. And finally, ICC has answered our prayers. They have agreed to investigate and charge Samia, Museveni, and the UPDF soldiers. Sooner or later, we are gonna get justice in East Africa. ICC has agreed, and as we speak, they received all the information we sent them, the pictures, and soon or later, East Africa, you're gonna get justice. Not just in Tanzania, you're gonna get justice in Uganda, because the dictator Museveni and his son, they are the one who sent UPDF soldiers to shoot innocent Tanzanians. Thank you, ICC.
This beautiful lady, not gonna mention your name.
And I knew one thing: the blood of innocent people cannot go that way. It can't just vanish. It is not something that it can just go that way. You don't wake up and just do away with people or destroy people's lives just like that, just because they are fighting for their rights, just because they're trying to look for a free and fair elections. That is just because they want to live like the people who own Tanzania, not slaves in their own country, and then you hope to get away with it. It's very difficult. Now, what is happening right now, it is what Samia Suluhu Hassan wanted to happen to her. She's been rude. She's been very much difficult to handle. She's been bragging how she's going to deal with, everybody who is trying to oppose her. She's even been threatening Kenyans, that they went to Tanzania to go and demonstrate in Tanzania. But it's okay. It's fine, At the end of the day, we know that, we knew that God will stand by the Tanzanian people, and God has really stood with the Tanzanian people, and that is why we can be able to see things like this. It's been hard, it's been hard because we've seen people who have been killed, people their lives have been taken, and it's been very bad. We've been sad watching this and seeing this, and right now I can tell you without fear of contradiction that there is now an outcome, and God has revealed that it wasn't true, it wasn't free, it wasn't fair. This one should be a lesson to every single African leader who is looking forward to do something like this. God will expose you. It is not good to kill people. People have been killed innocently. They just didn't do anything. They were only fighting for their rights. But right now, you have destroyed their life. You hoping to get away with it, it's very difficult. So now, the president needs to be preparing herself, because anytime the elections can be declared nullified. It's supposed to be declared nullified because it wasn't free, it wasn't fair, which means there are things that happened that are not good. You tell me what you think on the comment section. Also give your reaction about it, and I will do my best to make sure I read all the comments and give a response where possible. This is African Streamline Roundtable from the African Streamline, and I am Atamba Haiti. Thanks for watching, and thanks for always being here.